Chapter 13. There was already one person at the display case looking over the flavours. The Baskin & Robbins attendant was behind the counter wearing a paper company hat. She looked up and told me the customer ahead of me would take a while. If I'd order now, she would take care of me first. I chose a purple flavour. I'd never tried purple ice cream. This was going to either be very fruity or vanilla. It looked creamy, so it was probably vanilla. "Would you like a plain cone?" she asked. For some reason, the situation felt uneasy. The place had strange lighting. The bare walls were painted turquoise and dingy. A bright yellow poster of a vanilla ice cream cup was on the back wall. It had writing, but I didn't read what it said. To the left, beyond the counter, were two closed grey doors. One for storage, and one a bathroom, I guessed. "That would be fine," I replied. A waffle cone was too sweet for me. I always ended up throwing the end away. A heavy-set Korean man came out from the storage room door and looked around. I guessed he was the owner. He walked around picking things up and wiping down tables. A long time went by. I didn't know what the hold-up was. The attendant now seemed to be helping the other customer rather than getting my cone. I wandered around, waiting. Out of nowhere, my need to pee was dramatic. No question, I couldn't hold it. I had to go. Looking around, there was a bucket in the corner, away from the counter. I went over, unzipped my pants, and started peeing into it. "Oh yeah, that's a relief. I really had to go," I thought. Then it struck me I was peeing in public in a store. Oh no, what was I thinking? Mortified, I turned away, not taking the time to zip my pants, and hurried into the corner bathroom, hoping no one saw. The small windowless painted room was empty, no toilet, just a tiled floor and walls. Why would this room be here? The toilet must be next door, I thought. Outside I could hear the Korean man talking to a second man who came out from the storage room. It was the actual owner. The first man was only an employee. "You're not going to believe this," the employee said. "I just saw a guy pee into that bucket over there. He had his thing out and everything. He just went through that door right there." "You're kidding. Who does that?" the owner asked. "He's in there," the employee replied. There was a knock at the door. I zipped up my pants with some difficulty, then opened the door. The owner was standing in front of me, not moving, sizing me up. "Hey, I'm sorry. I know this looks bad. I don't know why I did that. I really don't. I guess I don't get off the ranch often enough. I must be losing my social skills. Out there, I can pee anywhere I want. I can't believe I just did that. It was totally inappropriate. I'm so sorry. If you never want me to come back into the store, I'd understand." He stared, listening, not responding, with his hands in his jacket. His face was oily, stern, and disapproving. I couldn't tell what he was thinking. I regretted offering to never come back into the store so quickly. If he agreed, I'd never be able to go into any Baskin & Robbins anywhere ever again. That would suck. They were the only ones who had daiquiri ice, my favorite flavor since high school. I hoped he accepted my apology, but he didn't say anything or move. He just stared at me, stoic, confused, and disappointed. What was I thinking? I've never done that before. Hey, I haven't got my ice cream. I wonder if I'll get that before they kick me out. Probably not. Maybe. Went through my thoughts as I and my surroundings faded into nothingness. Waking at 4:44 a.m. on the couch by the empty fireplace, I was cold and really had to pee. No question. Now. What the hell was that dream about? I wondered. Stretching, I stumbled, finding my balance, surveying the surrounding hillsides through the massive floor-to-ceiling windows as I made my way to the bathroom. The morning sun hadn't crested the 9,000-foot Sierras to the east, but its approach illuminated everything in pale blue-grey. Soon a blazing stark yellow would bleed in ribbons and sheets across the nearby southern and western hills, saturating the landscape in less than an hour. A pattern that would play out in reverse on the eastern slopes and ridges at the end of the day as sunset performed its fleeting, brilliant show. After relieving myself, I walked outside to the patio by the pool into crisp, wet air. Frogs rhythmically croaked through the thin mist rising from the large pond about 75 yards from the house. Silhouettes of 5 Canadian geese floated slowly among smaller shapes of migrating ducks or coots. 3 seasonal ponds on the ranch are used by migrating waterfowl. From January through April, a transient ecosystem with thousands of tadpoles and frogs blooms, feeding hundreds of birds using the ponds as a temporary home or overnight stop while heading north. Blue herons and snowy egrets stay the longest, supplementing their diet with small moles and lizards after the water dries up. The annual amphibian symphony is a welcome part of spring here. A chorus begins each night around 5:30 p.m., with a few of the bolder frogs and toads leading with short ratcheting trills and 2-note repetitive stanzas. Slowly the timid get their nerve and sound off short bars, gaining confidence to croak and squeak increasingly longer verses. The choral builds in volume and intensity until each of the hundreds, sometimes thousands participating, try to hear their own voice over the din and forget all shyness, bellowing with abandon. The air vibrates and pulses with their conviction to the moment. Unaware, they sing an eons-long song of destiny. At times, an audible crack in the brush nearby, or something I don't perceive, causes the entire choir to stop on their last note, the abrupt silence punctuating the cacophony their mating and territory verses had grown into. Seconds tick by until one or more probe the silence with solos until the entire fanfare rebuilds. That process repeats over several hours until satisfied or exhausted, the sopranos and tenors diminish away, leaving only a few calling out bass notes until the quiet night takes over. Sometimes, once or twice, a short revival is set off by a passing car, dog, or a coyote, calling to its clan in the distance. These are typically less intense, but a similar march and lullaby. The chilly air forced me inside, where I put a few dried olive branches on the coals of the wood stove, then made coffee. Located in a narrow pass in the first set of western foothills in the Sierra Nevadas, the ranch is a remarkably diverse, thriving place. It's a lifestyle, not simply a place to live. The 55 acres are a labor of orchards, architecture, water systems, a constant rain of wild seeds, ground squirrels, moles, bobcats, roadrunners, wild pigs, lizards, rattlesnakes, occasional wild turkey, mountain lions, and always kangaroo mice. It is historically significant. Fort Allen was built here after we stole the land from the indigenous people. There were Indians living in the oak forests and rocky hills above the ranch for generations, before the United States created the first deed to the place, United States of America to Johann Allen, dated 1864. Granite slabs above the ranch are gouged with dozens of well-worn grinding holes, where Yokuts pulverized starchy, bitter chestnuts from the forest overlooking the valley that was a floodplain of converging rivers. 4 Creeks is what European settlers called it. Allen's Gap is what old-timers remember it as now. Obsidian arrowheads and other artifacts are still found here. In 1862, the 2nd California Cavalry from Camp Babbitt in central Visalia took part in the Northern California Owens Valley Indian Massacre. Due to lingering tensions, Fort Allen was created in 1864 between the local Yokuts lodges and the river, giving the new Americans control over the water and them. My house is built over the original Allen cabin. My basement is the old Allen cabin root cellar. 6 acres of the ranch are forested in manzanita olives planted by the settlers for lamp and cooking oil in 1864. It remains one of the oldest orchards left in the valley. There are 8 acres of navel oranges, which ripen in December, and 4 acres of Valencia oranges, which ripen in June. 27 fertile acres are unplanted. Neighboring the east are 5,000 acres of pristine land, used only a few months of the year for cattle grazing. Several mines exist there. For what, I cannot determine. Garnet is common, as well as white quartz and decomposed granite. But gold, or other precious minerals, aren't present even though Mariposa, the site of the original California gold rush of 1848, is only 70 miles north. Exeter is the closest town to the ranch, about 8 miles south. It is 3 square blocks dressed in 1900s brick and mortar, struggling to keep its small storefronts open. Founded in 1888, it initially flourished as a result of the railroad and local invention of emperor grapes. Those crops have moved elsewhere. The town now is surrounded mostly by oranges and small housing divisions. Locally, it is promoted for its representational painted murals on the sides of buildings. Since those haven't garnered much tourism, they recently began advertising themselves as the Gateway to the Sequoias, a national park 15 miles up the road. Exeter is the gateway to the Sequoias, the same way any gas station in Anaheim is the gateway to Disneyland. Less well known is that Exeter is the location of one of the most sublime bank robberies ever accomplished. The Central Valley occasionally suffers zero visibility fog, usually between December through February. The still air in the massive old lake bed surrounded by mountains on four sides is ideal for the barometric pressure and dew point to equalize, creating advection fog, as it is known technically, or Tule fog, as it is commonly called. Visibility can range from a few miles to a few feet, lingering for days. Schools have foggy day schedules. In February 2002, during one of those zero visibility mornings, a couple walked into the Citibank branch in downtown Exeter, wearing ski masks and gloves. They had no weapons. "Everyone stay calm. This is a robbery. Just give us the money and we leave," is all they said. The two tellers and assistant bank manager opened the cash drawers, putting the entire contents, $5,000, on the counter. The couple put the money into a backpack and walked out the front door into the fog, disappearing forever. The Exeter police station is across the street. Other than it being a man and woman, there are no leads, no fingerprints, no evidence. The unknown couple has never been caught. A perfect crime. I sipped my coffee, flipping through the court files for the day. Only one thing needed my attention: a rubber band-wrapped bundle of reports and manila envelope containing the Navarro discovery Brenda had put together for me. The report started with finding Caesar in the alley before he was a suspect. They were signed by Officer M. Hughes and Officer A. Daltrey. I knew Hughes. He was a decent, even-tempered guy. His report merely recited arriving, finding an injured, unidentified Mexican male unconscious in the ambulance, and clearing for transport to the hospital. Daltrey's report had an unusual notation. Victim possessed scented Christmas present wrapped in metallic gold paper with black ribbon. Property, along with lack of shoes and clothing, indicate he may have been forced or lured outside. I looked at the evidence sheet. No package was listed. Next, I opened the manila envelope, pouring out 12 CDs. I popped the first into my laptop. There was a soft whirring, then a beep and error message. "Disk unreadable. Press enter to format disk." I ejected and re-entered it. Same whirring, delay, beep and error. "Bummer," I thought as I wrote on a sticky note that we needed another copy of this disk. It was labelled 1 of 14. 14! I counted the disks again. I had 12. I took another disk and put it in the computer. "Disk unreadable" showed up on the screen. I tried all the disks. All were unreadable. That's never happened, I thought as I text Brenda. Me. "We need all new CDs in Navarro. Only given 12 of 14. All blank or corrupted. Notify DA. See if we can pick up new copies today."